So, Carl, let's talk about President Trump.
Okay.
How, in your view, is he handling the situation with North Korea?
Well, the situation with North Korea probably warrants a strong response with some saber rattling and rhetoric, but it's not good for the U.S.'s position long term because he's probably boxing himself in. And Donald Trump is a man who doesn't like to be boxed in, so he might decide to strike militarily simply because he feels he has to in order to save face, and that's not a good position to be in. I think the fire and fury rhetoric is unnecessary, but on the other hand, the previous administrations, both George Bush as a Republican and Barack Obama as a Democrat, frankly, were boxed in by the North Koreans and were essentially in a position where they would use tough rhetoric and North Korea would ignore it. So we'll see if this time, if the two leaders ultimately work out something. I don't think we're going to proceed to a military strike. I think at some point, saner heads will prevail, and the situation will resolve itself with some sort of negotiation. But we have to get to that point, and I think the president should let Rex Tillerson take the lead on this, the Secretary of State, because he has surprisingly demonstrated, I think, a very reasonable attitude about this and other foreign policy issues.
Well, Trump has done, he said he's going to do a lot of things that he hasn't done, so I don't know about, I mean, I agree with you that the potential exists to paint himself into a corner and put himself in a box, but he said he was going to build a wall. We ain't got no wall. Where's that wall?
Well, the wall thing was just simply political machination. The fact of the matter is that, number one, Mexico is not going to pay for the wall. They have never said that they would pay for it, and they have only said that they won't. And they're not going to change that position because they don't have to. And you see, that's the other problem Trump has. He has no leverage right now with poll numbers being the lowest in modern political history for the country. So he doesn't have any leverage with the American people. And now...
Well, how about the economy? The economy is humming along. The Dow's over 22,000.
And
housing starts are up. Jobs are up. I mean...
Yeah, he better hope that continues. I'm concerned...
Well, yeah, but give him some credit for that, Carl. Come on, dude.
How much could he have done in 6 months, Don?
How much could he have done what?
To have made an impact on the economy.
Well, he could have done a lot of harm. I mean, people are, you know, the way the market is, the way the market works, those guys down there and people down there get enthusiastic about somebody or something, and they think that things are going to be better, and so that's why the market goes up. But I mean, I think you got to give the dude his due when it's due. You like Rex Tillerson?
You know, like I said, surprisingly, I thought at first that, you know, this was another example of Trump putting in a corporate tycoon who had no experience. But I've been surprised. He has surprised me more than any other appointee in the administration. Yes, I like Rex Tillerson. I think he's doing a very good job. And it doesn't surprise me that there have been rumors that he might be unhappy enough to leave the administration because he felt he didn't have enough control over his own staffing. But I just think he has presented himself very well and in a positive manner representing the United States to foreign dignitaries and to heads of state in other countries. And I'm very comfortable with the job that he's doing as Secretary of State. And I think that the president should rely on him even more than he does. And that's a comfort because the Secretary of State is still the number one position in the cabinet.
Do you think this talking with Carl Jeffers here on the Imus Morning program, and Carl's doing very well this morning and not filibustering the I-Man. You're doing well, Carl, so you're to be congratulated for that. A little prickly on the I-Man making fun of you about but that's fine. Do you think that this investigation about whether there's any collusion with Russia is going to go anywhere?
Oh, absolutely. And
you do?
And I heard Bernie say earlier some loser was out there calling for Trump tax returns. But the fact is that there are a lot of people who Bernie would not be able to call losers, who are calling for the only president since Richard Nixon not to release his tax returns. And the way this ties into the answer to your question is that I believe ultimately that what will be at the heart of the Mueller FBI investigation will be financial dealings in the past with Trump and Russia that lead to the notion that there could be some reason, perhaps collusion, perhaps incentive for the Trump administration to be so kindly towards Russia, that it has to be that the Russians have some type of hold over him that dates back to some financial dealings between Trump organizations or Trump companies and the Russians.
Well, there would be other records of that, not just, I mean, you could get that information. It wouldn't just have to be revealed in his tax returns.
Right, correct.
But there'd be other evidence of that. We don't have any other evidence of that.
Well, we don't know what the evidence is, but here's what we do know.
We know we don't have any. If we had any, it'd be all over the front page of the Washington Post and the New York Times. What are you talking about?
Well, Trump didn't want to release his tax returns, and the only reason
why he didn't want to release his tax returns? Because he's not worth anywhere near as much money as he says he is.
I think that's
why he doesn't want to release them. Huh?
I think that's part. That embarrassment is part of it as well, Don. Sure, of course. But I also think that he did not want to have
didn't call me Don, Carl, like that.
He didn't like the scrutiny of what was going to come if he had released that information.
That's right. Well, this was a pretty good appearance, Carl, so congratulations.